to the first of several videos that are actually of a chair yoga sequence. So, I would have everybody come in and take a seat and start to ground downward and get comfortable. For those of us who are short, I recommend a block under the feet. Just gives you that better sense of stability and comfort. Some people are tall and actually need blankets beneath them, depending on the chair, right? So we try to kind of accommodate all the various sorts of people that come to our classes in any way that can, get them started off right at the beginning, feeling more comfortable and at ease. So everybody begin to settle in, begin to get comfortable, begin to ground the sits bones downward, the sits bones being the 2 points at the base of the pelvis. Ground downward to begin to establish a feeling of steadiness and stability. Let it begin to create for you a feeling of steadiness and stability, a sense of groundedness. And then at the same time, begin to just gently lengthen upward without any forcing. Keep it easy. Somewhere in between a position where you're slouching, closing off room for the breath, versus the other end of the spectrum, staying rigid straight like a board, balancing books on your head, kind of reminiscent of Miss Manners. So find that in between, that intermediate position, what I like to call a comfortably active posture. And once you've done that, if it's comfortable for you, I invite you to close the eyes. And it's not comfortable for everyone, I know. So if that's you, feel free to perhaps just soften your gaze and maybe take your gaze down at the front edge of the mat. And in either case, start to bring your awareness inward. Start to focus first on the physical body. Every day that we come to the mat, we bring a different body with us. Some days we're feeling well rested, strong and energetic, feeling like we could take on the world. And then there's those other days, right, where perhaps you didn't sleep well. Perhaps your allergies are flaring up. And for whatever reason, it's a different day. And just simply notice whatever is. Notice the sensations within the physical body. Perhaps you'll notice some areas of a little achiness or tenderness. Perhaps a little stiffness here or there. Our awareness tends to be drawn first to areas of discomfort. And that's understandable. And it's important to notice those and to be sure to honor those in our practice today. But then try to also look beyond the obvious, beyond those areas that grab our attention. Peel away the layers of the onion and look at sensations more subtle, whatever they may be. And then begin to shift your awareness to your breath. Every day we come to the mat, not only do we bring a different body with us, but we also bring a different breath. So just take a few moments to notice your breath as it is before making changes. Notice the breath that arrived with you on the mat. Perhaps notice the pace of the breath. Perhaps notice the position of the breath within the body. Notice if the breath today is smooth and steady and strong, or maybe not. Maybe instead it's a little bumpy, a little ragged, perhaps a little hesitant. Just simply notice it as it is. Now begin to take intentional control of your breath. Begin to slow the pace. Make your inhales longer. Make your exhales longer. Begin to deepen your breath. Draw your inhale down into the abdomen, deep enough to inflate the belly, fill upward, expand the rib cage, and continue to fill all the way up, and gently lift the collarbones. This is new to you. Perhaps place your right hand on your low belly. With your next inhale, draw that breath down deep enough to inflate the belly and move that right hand. And in order to do so, you need to let the belly go soft. Let go of any gripping of abdominal muscles for our time sitting and breathing. Again, with each breath, draw your inhale down deep enough to puff out the belly and fill from the bottom up. And now, leaving the right hand where it is, take your left hand to the side body at your low ribs. With your next inhale, first draw that breath down deep enough to puff out the belly and move the right hand, but continue to draw in breath and fill upward. Expand the rib cage and move the left hand. And continue that with each breath. And now leave the left hand on the ribs where it is, but remove the right hand from the belly. Take it up high in the chest and place it right over the collarbones. With your next inhale, first draw that breath deep enough down to puff out the belly, fill upward, expand the rib cage, and then continue to fill all the way up and gently lift the collarbones so that with each breath, you're moving belly, ribs, and collarbones, filling from the bottom up. This movement of belly, ribs, and collarbones the three-part breath for those three anatomical parts moved. In Sanskrit, the language of yoga, it's called Durga Pranayam. Continue this breath. And if you feel you have the hang of it, go ahead and return your hands comfortably to your lap. If the mind begins to wander, as often it will, just simply notice without any judgment. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Try to visualize and feel the breath moving on its path. Feel it enter through the nose. Maybe notice the temperature of the air. Feel the breath strike the back of the throat and get directed downward. Notice the sensations of the breath moving down through the center of the chest. And then feel it filling from the bottom up. Moving belly, ribs, and collarbones. Continue for just 3 more breaths at your pace. At the bottom of your third exhale, no rush. Whenever you arrive there, simply keep your eyes closed, but join me with your palms together in prayer position at heart center, or in yoga what we call Anjali Mudra. And let's set an intention for this afternoon's practice. In yoga philosophy, there are the yamas and niyamas, and they're basically kind of codes for how to live, how to moderate our behavior within ourselves and with others. And the first of the yamas, and the most important one, is ahimsa, 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 and it means non-violence. Really, we often take it more broadly to mean non-harming. We should be non-harming in our thoughts, non-harming in our words, and non-harming in our deeds or actions to others, of course. But the forgotten part, and often the harder part, is we should also be non-harming to ourselves. Open up the eyes, and let's begin. Go ahead and shift forward a little bit from the chair back. Give yourself a little space behind you for some freedom to move. And let's start just nice and easy with just some really slow and gentle trunk circles. And if you have a bad back, right, these can be really small. Just explore, and as you're doing so, remember, be very mindful of sensations in the body. Right? Keep that awareness there, and if something doesn't feel right, then go ahead and just reduce the size of the circles or back out altogether, right? But it's that slow and mindful movement that will help to keep you from kind of finding yourself in a problem or a posture or movement, a little angle that grabs some muscles or creates pain in other ways. Just explore. And if it's feeling okay, maybe those circles can get a little larger, maybe a little more energetic. And if you haven't already, go ahead and reverse direction of your circles. Notice how that feels. Does it feel different going this way in comparison to the other? It's not often we even take the time to notice. And then reverse again. Just do one circle around and reverse again and do just one circle around. And do that kind of back and forth just a few more times at your own pace. And notice what the reversals themselves bring, right? They bring a little different sensation than the continuous circling movement. Maybe a little extra pull, a little extra stretch as the body decelerates and accelerates in the other direction. And then let's just do one more circle around. And come to stillness. How's everybody feeling today? My imaginary audience. Take your right arm out. And remember, I don't mirror. I know some yoga teachers do, but I was trained not to. Take that right arm out and just inhale up tall. And then exhale gently over to your left. Inhale up and bring that other arm with you. And exhale gently over. And then just go back and forth. Keep it really easy, nice and gentle. I call these seaweed arms, if that helps to kind of paint a picture of what I'm really after here. Just fluid and soft. Right? We're marrying that movement with the breath. Inhaling when the body's tall and open. Exhaling as we come into the work, in this case, the gentle side stretch. And we do that for a couple reasons, really. Marrying movement with the breath takes just a little extra brain power. And so it keeps your mind focused here on the mat, in the chair, instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to get milk on the way home, or oh, I forgot to pay the phone bill, or whatever it is that comes to mind. And also breathing, marrying movement with the breath slows us down. And then finally, exhaling on the stretch is when the muscles are released and relaxed and more receptive to the stretch, stretching more easily and comfortably. And even though we've been going really gentle, by now, with all of my yammering, you may not have even realized that you're probably going more deeply into that side bend, that side stretch, without even trying, without adding any additional effort. It's simply because the muscles have warmed and softened and lengthened. Come on up to stillness. Wouldn't it be nice if everything in life got a little easier without any additional effort? I actually would argue many things would, if we would get out of the way and let them. All right, now let's start some cow and cat. Okay, if you have a bad back, be sure that you approach this kind of slowly and in a modified, maybe smaller scale until you see how the back is feeling today. But put the hands on the thighs, inhale up tall. And then begin your exhale and begin to hinge the hips and dive down and forward. Look straight ahead and inhale, arching up. At the top, tuck the chin and roll the shoulders forward. And as you exhale, press back at that spot right between the shoulder blades. And when you're ready, dive down and forward again. Lift that gaze, inhale, arching up into cow. Tuck the chin, roll those shoulders forward, and exhale back into cat. Think about a Halloween kitty with that big arched back. And just keep going at the pace of your breath. And if you haven't done so already, as you inhale up into cow, add in the tailbone, a gentle lift to deepen that stretch a little bit. And as you come into cat, tuck that tailbone and see how it changes the sensation. Let's do one more in each direction. And then come on up. How'd that feel? Any tender backs today? Be sure to honor that, right? You can always modify, just take those movements more gently and smaller. All right, so we like to, start with the 6 movements of the spine, right? There's an expression that you are as young as your spine is mobile. So we want to keep it moving, right? Once that spine gets to feeling painful, we stop moving it and we stop moving everything else. And that lack of motion just causes even more problems. So here's your spine, right? Basically a rod with some healthy curves. We've already done kind of some gentle exploration in all directions, but we've also done side to side with the seaweed arms, forward and back with our cat and cow, right? So what's left of our 6 movements would be a twist in one direction and a twist in the other. I actually like to think, I learned it as the 6 movements of the spine, but I like to think of it really as 7, because the 7th movement would be axial extension, right? And so let's tackle the extension first, and then we'll get to our twists. So take those arms out to the side, palms up, and just simply inhale up, lifting up out of the waist. Put the palms together, exhale down through center, and then go again. And again, go at the pace of your breath. It doesn't have to be the pace of mine, right? We don't have to do synchronized yoga. It's your yoga, so make it work for you, right? Do what feels right for your body and your mind on this day. Let's do one more of these, this direction. And as you come down through center this time, let's reverse it. Inhaling up. Let those palms reach way out as you exhale down, and then keep going. And let's do 2 more of these. You might know, if you've practiced with me before, I'm kind of notorious for losing count. You guys can help keep me on track. There we go. All right, there's our axial extension. And now we need our twists. But in a seated form, or seated body position, twists can feel a little harsh. So I like to kind of do baby twists first, right, to kind of prepare the body for them. So take your fingertips up to your shoulders and the elbows up nice and tall, and lift out of the waist, right? And then start little gentle washing machines. And this is a movement I actually don't want you to marry with the breath, because I want these to be small. And if we marry this movement with the breath, we tend to, kind of crank way over, make it far deeper than I want, and that's exactly defeating the purpose. I want these to be little baby twists, just simply waking the mid-body in preparation for a deeper twist. And as long as we've got those arms up, let's start to swim. Doesn't matter if you chose to go forward or backward, we're going to get both directions. As you're doing this, feel what's moving. I mean, the shoulders, of course, and the arms, certainly. But look beyond that, feel beyond that, and notice what else is moving down the side bodies or down the back. And then reverse direction. Channel your inner Michael Phelps. Notice if one direction feels perhaps easier than the other. Notice if one shoulder or arm feels different than the other. And then come to stillness. All right. So we've done some kind of baby twists. Let's go ahead and do a deeper twist, right? And there's a couple ways we can do it, but for today, let's actually turn fully sideways. There, take those legs over to the side, arms out front, and when you're ready, inhale up with the arms and also lift up out of that waist. And as you exhale, twist toward your chair back. Bring one arm down on each side and hang on low and loose, and bring the spine up nice and tall and straight. And your head and neck can be anywhere that they're comfortable. They can go into the twist, or if it's a little tender today, be a little more gentle and take that head in the other direction. And keep the twist itself gentle. Keep your awareness right on that sensation of stretch. Try to use your exhale to bring a little softness to those muscles. And if it's not working, back out of your twist a little bit and try again. Your exhale, no rush. Whenever you arrive there, release the chair, inhale up again, nice and tall, and unwind. Bring the hands down on the thighs, inhale tall. Let's do 2 cows and cats again. Begin to exhale, hinge those hips, dive down and forward, look straight ahead, and inhale, arching up. At the top, tuck that chin, roll the shoulders forward, and exhale back, really pressing at that spot right between the shoulder blades. And let's do one more each direction. Come on up tall, and let's revisit that twist. Inhale up, lift out of the waist again. Exhale back into that twist, same direction. And again, bring that spine up nice and tall and straight. That tall, straight spine will twist more easily and more comfortably, more safely, and probably more deeply. Notice how the twist feels the second time in. Does it feel different in any way? And after your exhale, again release, inhale and lift tall, and unwind. And now let's make our way forward and over to the other side. We don't want to send you out of here crooked. All right, all the way around, no rush. And again, take those arms out front. Inhale up, lift up tall. Exhale into the chair back. Those arms down, one on each side. Hang on low and loose, and then remember, bring that spine up tall. And again, don't go too deeply into the twist. We tend to kind of go to our limit right away. But, back off just a little bit. Keep it gentle, keep it soft. And again, a good test to see if you went perhaps too far is if using your exhale, you're unable to cause any softening of the muscles, and you probably went a little too deep. Back out, try again. And after your exhale, inhale up and unwind. And again, let's do 2 cows and cats. Inhale tall. Exhale, hinging forward, diving down, look straight out. Inhale, arching up. Tuck that chin, roll the shoulders forward, and exhale, pressing back. And then go again. And revisit the twist. Inhale those arms up, lift out of the waist. Exhale your way in. And remember to come up nice and tall. And after your exhale, whenever you arrive there, inhale back up and out. Make your way to the front. All right, so why is it that we revisit the stretch? I like to kind of joke that muscles are an awful lot like bratty teenagers. I have 2 teenagers, and of course mine aren't bratty, but just imagine a challenging teenager. And, if you approach them with an idea, for example, and you say, I have this great idea, I think you should do X. Well, they're going to be like, whoa, I don't think I should be doing any of that, right? And they dig in their heels and resist. And yet sometimes if instead you approach them and kind of drop an idea, just kind of leave it lingering out there and go away, when you come back later, by then it's almost like they thought it was their idea, right? So the point being that oftentimes muscles are a bit more receptive the second time into the same posture or stretch, right? The mind has already been in that configuration before, the muscles have been in the configuration. And so I like to say the muscles have discovered it's safe. It's really the mind, of course, but your body, the totality of it, has been in that configuration before and decided it's safe. And so the second time in, there's just a little bit of trust that has developed, which allows those muscles to kind of release any guarding, or a bit anyway, of the guarding, right? All right. Actually, I made mention in the twist about going too far, right, and maybe backing out. So it's a good time to interject a little discussion about the edge. So in yoga, we talk about the edge, or at least in Kripalu-based yoga. And the edge is really quite simply that, this side is safe and comfortable. This side is uncomfortable and potential injury, right? And so, of course, we don't want to end up on that side. In many a fitness class, you would push right through, right? Push, 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 no pain, no gain. In yoga, it's really not the case. We really don't want to go there. Not only, do you have the potential for injury, but in my experiences, is actually counterproductive. If one of the primary goals is increasing flexibility or increasing range of motion, then I have found that, you don't even want to come to the edge and kind of bang into it, right? Because you may trigger the muscles to grip in a protective, kind of defensive motion or response. And so you want to approach the edge and find where it is. And you'll know, right, we're approaching slowly and mindfully, and it feels like a really good stretch. And then you get to a point where, I'm not so sure that's a good stretch, right? There's your edge. And you actually want to back off a little bit and hover right around here. And, I like to picture it as kind of buffeting, right? So you're away from that edge, you're kind of exploring a little bit right there. And with that sort of approach, it builds that trust. It allows more release of contraction of muscle, and the muscles will be able to be stretched more effectively. So, it's been my experience that participants actually have greater progress or greater gains in flexibility with trying less, right? I often say less is more, especially when I encounter overachievers. I call them the tryhards, right? So, they want to make quick progress, and the quicker way to progress is by pushing. And it just is not the case when it comes to yoga. All right, there we go. So let's interject a bit of other motion. So if you have a block under your feet, go ahead and set that aside. Go ahead and make your way to the chair back, supported, and just start swinging a leg, right? We often, when we do this, start to hear popcorn, little crunchies, right? Or if you don't hear it, you might even just feel it, right? I like to actually think, as long as there's no pain, I like to think of those little popcorn crunchies as little thank yous. Thank you, I needed to move, right? Movement is key. And as we're doing this, there's synovial fluid in the knee joint, and it's circulating around, lubricating all those surfaces, loosening things up. And of course, the muscles and joint are warming as you're doing this. And the synovial fluid, which is made by the body, is encouraged to be produced by movement. So we have to move. All right, now, when you're ready, just hold that leg forward and loosen up the ankle with a bit of point and flex. So we're moving the ankle joint, we're getting that joint loosened up, but notice what else is going on with this same simple motion, right? When you flex the toes, pulling them towards you, you stretch the shin muscle in the front of that lower leg, and when you point, you can perhaps feel, oops, I go backwards, right? Sorry, when you pull the toes forward, you get the calf stretch, and when you point, you get the shin stretch, right? So just back and forth, lengthening those legs, and when you're ready, you can start some circles. And some people find the circles to be uncomfortable. I always try to start with the point and flex, right? And if you haven't done ankle circles in a while, and this is not feeling so good, then, opt out or just do maybe a little side-to-side wiggle until things loosen up a little bit more, right? Or keep them small. There we go. All right, and then let that go. Let's switch sides. So swing, I like to say channel your inner 5-year-old waiting, sitting in the chair, waiting for your turn at the dentist. Kids' legs never stop, do they? Right? Constantly swinging. So get that loosened up, and then when you're ready, hold that foot forward, give it some point and flex, right? Stretching those leg muscles, and then some circles. A few one way, and then when you're ready, go ahead and reverse. Notice if one direction feels a little more comfortable, a little smoother than the other. Notice if one leg, right, the knee or the ankle on one side feels different than the other. There we go. Nice. And then shift forward. Right. Maybe if you're tall enough, you don't need to. Okay. But shift forward or somehow put your feet flat on the mat and then just start to lift the heels and then lift the balls of the feet. Ooh, there was a crunch. And just go back and forth. So it's stretching out the bottoms of the feet, and it's continuing to stretch the leg muscles, and continuing to move that ankle joint, and now we're getting the toe joints into the mix here. Nice. There we go. Couple more. And come to stillness. All right. And now, if it's possible, if it's comfortable for you, take that ankle over the other leg. And if you haven't done this a while, it may not feel all that great. So by all means, don't. Instead, you can make this much more comfortable by taking a block or 2 or 3, whatever feels right for you, and maybe, put them off to one side and put the foot on it and let that knee fall out, let the hip open. It's the same stretch, just in a gentler form. Or, you can start here, let it loosen up a little bit, and then maybe you decide, I could actually go a little deeper into this stretch and take it a little higher, right? Every day we come to the mat, we bring a different body with us. And so, even if the other day you had your ankle right up on the thigh and it felt great, if today is not feeling so great, then there's no need to do that. It's not a competition. Not only with others, but it's not a competition with ourselves. There. Let that loosen. Right. And then inhale up tall. And what I don't want you to do is curl forward, right? But inhale up tall and keep this nice straight back. And then exhale and just bring the chest forward a little bit, and you might notice that it intensifies the stretch in the hip. Sometimes it may create a different stretch out on the outer thigh or in the glute. It can be a little different for everyone. Right? We often, when we're in the same exact posture, or kind of on a basic scale, what it looks like is the same posture. Each of us can feel the stretch in a different location. And that's, due to differences like body proportions. And it's also due to differences in where I'm tight versus where you're tight, right? There, and then back off, and then switch sides, right? right? So if you're using blocks, maybe again, and you might want to go lower at first. Remember, start gentle and kind of build up from there. So go ahead and put that foot kind of on the side on those blocks. Let that knee fall out and open that hip. And if it's starting to loosen and feel pretty good and you maybe want to go a little higher, go for it. See some of you have it all the way up, right? That's wonderful too, right? So put that ankle on the thigh. And so I like to just let it hang out, right? No forcing at all. Let it open on its own. Let these muscles stretch on their own. And once they've had a chance to do that, then maybe inhale up tall. Keep that tall straight back. And exhale, bringing the chest a little forward. And notice what changes. And again, like I said, it might be very different for each of us. And then release. Nice. How's everybody feeling? Good. All right. Now we've stretched kind of, top to bottom, with the exception today of the neck. We'll tackle that another day, right? But at this point, I like to kind of put it all together and do what I call a half sun salutation, okay? And it's fully seated. You can do it standing as well, but I often will do it seated, okay? Take the arms out and really palms up. We tend to go palms forward, but turn them over a little more, okay? So palms out, reaching down, and then inhale up, lift right up out of the waist, bring the palms together, and bend the elbows. Take those hands behind you and stretch the back of the arms, the triceps. Inhale up tall, flip the palms, exhale, reaching way out on the way down. Bring those hands to the thighs. Inhale up tall, lift out of that waist. And then exhale your way forward. And if you have a bad back, keep those hands on the knees so that you can control the amount of forward bending, right? And if your doctor has said don't do any forward folds, then don't, of course, right? And if you have the clearance, you got the okay, you still might want to approach this kind of carefully, right? Use the arms to press up. Inhale. And then just like with our twists, I like to revisit this forward fold. And again, you can keep those arms on the knees, or if you feel like it's safe to do so, go ahead and slide them down the legs so that you can kind of move into that forward fold slowly. If it's comfortable, let the head drop and dangle. Stay floppy on the thighs. Bring only the hands up, and then again use the arms to press up and inhale. We're using arms rather than the back muscles at this particular point. And then inhale up for just a great big sun breath to finish it off. And pull that sunshine right down in your heart. All right, so all of that together was one half sun salutation. Let's do it really slow and talk about why it's a full body stretch. Okay, and then we'll do it a little faster. So again, take those arms down and out. And inhale, but stop with the arms horizontal. Right? You feel that stretch, the entire length of the upper surface of those arms. Yeah. And then inhale up, and as you do, lift out of the waist, right? So you feel that stretch of the side bodies, the obliques, and the stretch of the back muscles, right? Palms together. Exhale as you bend those arms and stretch the triceps. And then inhale tall again, stretching the obliques and the muscles of the back. Flip the palms, exhale, reaching way out and way down, but again, stop with those arms horizontal. Palms are down now, so we get that stretch on the other side of the arms, the full length. And then bring it all the way down to the thighs. Inhale up tall. And exhale forward, but stop halfway. Notice where you feel the stretch, right? Many of us perhaps right at the glutes, And then as you continue lower, feel that stretch climb all the way up the back. And if you let the head drop, there's a stretch of the neck. Bring the hands up, press up and inhale. And let it go. Revisit the stretch. Again, bring the hands up, press up and inhale. And simply finish it off. Pull it on in. All right, so if you're sitting at home, you're sitting at your desk, right? As long as you don't have a bad back, I think it's a great all body stretch. If you do have a bad back, I wouldn't recommend the forward fold, right? At least not, when I'm kind of reminding you to go slowly and mindfully and keeping those hands on the legs to slow down the descent. But something you could weave in at home that would probably be much safer would be just simply the sun breath, inhaling up. Right? Feel how much stretch you get of the back body, right? And so just a few of those. If you've been sitting for a long time, right, kind of lengthening those muscles, kind of reinvigorating the breath. Feels pretty good. All right, now let's do the half sun salutation again, but this time we'll put in a little core strengthener, okay? So it starts out the same. Take those arms out, inhale up, lift up out of the waist. Palms together, bend the elbows, stretch those triceps, come back tall. Let the palms reach way out as you exhale down, hands to the thighs. So nothing's different so far, right? Inhale up. But here's where it gets different. Exhale and only come forward halfway, right? And pause there. Engage the muscles all the way around the core. And by core, I really mean all the way around. So including the back muscles, not just those sexy six-pack muscles on the abdominals, All right, engage that. And then if it feels safe, lift the arms, right? You feel that little bit of work in the core muscles in the back. And if it feels safe, maybe add a little weight by extending those arms forward. Did you feel that increased demand on those muscles? Right, especially down in the lower back. How's that feeling? Everyone okay? All right. Bring the hands down, press up, inhale. And I like to follow that little work of the back muscles by a stretch of the back muscles. Bring those hands up. Press up and inhale, and just finish it off. Nice. All right, now we have choices. I think for this particular sequence, we're going to go fully seated today, right? We'll show you a sequence that involves some standing later. Instead, I'd like to weave in some arm work. So take your strap and unroll it. I want you to grab it about shoulder width apart, okay, nice firm grasp. And then with the arms almost straight, just a little micro bend in those elbows, start to pull those hands away from one another, right? And notice where you feel the stretch. Notice which muscles are activated as you do this. And then release. And pull it in close. And again, pull the hands away from one another. Nice and strong. Notice the different muscles that engage as you do it in this configuration. And release. Take it straight arms again, straight-ish, and pull. And bring it in. And again, pull. I often joke that if you rip this strap, I will give you $1,000. So far, it's been a safe bet. Let it go. All right, now take the palms up, right? So the hands are under the strap, but we're going to do basically the same thing. Take those arms out straightish. The hands are about shoulder width apart, and pull those hands away from one another. Notice very different muscles engaged with the hands in this orientation. Release, pull it in close, and pull. Release, take it out, and pull. Release, Now, take the hands on the top of the strap again, palms down, and this time I want it wider. And so to get people to get the right length, I say, remember the last time you were at a wedding and did the YMCA, right? So take it up in a YMCA kind of configuration. And when I say that, people almost always get the right spacing. So there we go. Pop culture shows up and becomes handy in our yoga. All right, now lift up out of the waist. As you exhale, come to one side, and to not overdo, I want you to focus on lifting that upper hand, because otherwise, you might have a tendency to crank over and strain the side muscles. So think about lifting tall with that upper arm. And then come on up as you inhale. Exhale over to the other side, and again, lift that upper arm. Inhale up. And do one more to each side. Come on up at center. And now let the strap slide further, or the hands slide further away on the strap. Right? Now the positioning of this is really individual. Okay? What I want people to do is start to take that strap behind them, and it's even tough for me to show you because I have really open shoulders. Many people do not, right? And so encourage them to go really wide with those hands, and they can, they don't have to come all the way down, right? But just kind of explore the shoulders. Be really mindful and only go where it's comfortable. Just that nice, easy stretch, right? But everybody feels it, that's for sure. There. Nice. And then come on up and out. All right, I often have people with really limited shoulder mobility. And so they won't be able to do that in a very big way by any means, okay? This is one of the best tools I have found in working with people with shoulder mobility issues, shoulder mobility limitations. So remember, we pulled with a strap, so I started using this just for arm strength, and as it turns out, it really helps the shoulders. So I want you to put the heel of the hand on the block, and then whatever else of the hand fits, put the heel on, and whatever else fits. And just like with our strap, we're going to start with the arms straight-ish, a little micro bend, and now we want to push those hands together, right? And of course, notice those muscles activated, right? Now it's the chest muscles more so than the arms, or at least noticeably more. And release. Pull it in close and push. And release. Take those arms straight-ish again. Push. And release. Bring them in close and push. And release. Okay, and so far, that's great for arm strength, but it hasn't done a thing for the shoulders other than strengthening perhaps, but not mobility itself. And so here's where, I kind of accidentally discovered something that seems to work particularly well. Have participants take those arms out straight-ish again, and then inhale the arms up. And, some people really, really don't get very far. Okay, so it might be out here, and that's about it. Okay. But that's okay. They go wherever they can, right? And then come on down. And that's the harder one for most people. And then I say, pull it in, flip the block, tuck the elbows in, right? So it's a three-part thing. So pull it in, flip it, elbows in. And then, keeping the elbows in, take the block up and over the head, right? And of course, if you have good shoulder mobility, you can take it all the way over, right? But a lot of people will be here, and that's okay. It's just a starting point. But it really, working things like this, back up, and then in, flip, elbows, and up and over, right? So a few of those in each session seems to just really, help with shoulder mobility quite impressively, okay? All right, and then, we're not quite done. When we're done with those, right, I have them take their arms straight-ish again, and then roll it over, and especially push with that upper arm to create a stretch somewhere along here. And again, people will feel it differently in different places, right? And then go the other way. And then once more to each side. Nice. All right, set that block aside. There we go. Oh, that's my foot block because I'm short. All right, come on back. There. And now we've done a whole lot of movement, right, for the body. Very small movements, but a whole lot of them. And we do have a little time. So let's work on the neck. Sorry, I got an error. It's just a low battery. Okay. Hopefully you didn't end up with that message on your screen. All right, let's work the neck gently. Okay. So keep the chin level with the mat, or maybe slightly downward, and start to lengthen up through the crown of the neck, not crown of the head. Lifting upward. Take an inhale, and then slowly exhale that head forward. Let go of your posture a little bit. Right? Get a little slouchy, so that gravity can take hold of that big bowling ball of a head and help to deepen that stretch very gently. And then with your next inhale, come on back up. Pause, lengthen up through the crown of the head again. Take an inhale, and exhale forward again in the same direction, revisiting that stretch. But this time, we're going to stay a bit longer. Try to release the shoulders down. Try to relax the neck. Keep your awareness on that sensation of stretch. And notice if it changes, if it evolves in any way, or not. And with your next inhale, slowly bring that head back up. Pause, lengthen, take an inhale, and exhale the right ear over to the right shoulder. Relax those shoulders down. And with your inhale, slowly come back up. Pause and lengthen. Take an inhale again. And let's go the same direction, because remember, we're revisiting each stretch. Hoping the muscles will be a little more receptive the second time in. Again, be mindful of that sensation of stretch. And notice if it grows, perhaps. Maybe sometimes extending out to the edge of the shoulder. And after your third exhale, no rush. Pause, lengthen, take another inhale, and this time go the other way, left ear to left shoulder. When you're ready for an inhale, come on back up, pause and lengthen, exhale over the same direction. Everything soften. Stay this time for 3 full cycles of breath. And after your third exhale, come on back up. Now keep your eyes closed. Imagine a paintbrush at the very tip of your nose and start to paint circles that are only an inch in diameter. So nice and small, and go slowly. And then let that circle grow to perhaps 2 inches in diameter. Notice the sensations in the neck as you make these. And then reverse direction with your circle. And then come to stillness and open the eyes. How'd that feel? Any crunchies in the neck? Necks can be very finicky. I like to joke that necks are ornery people. All right, so at this point, let's settle back in and let's do just Shavasana. Right, so again, as we did at the start, let's ground those sits bones downward. Press down and begin to just gently lengthen upward. Open the body just enough to make room for the breath. And again, invite your gaze inward. Check in with the physical body once again. Notice how it feels now after our practice. Shift your focus to your breath and notice it after our practice. Notice if and how it perhaps has changed. Take control of your breath once again. If need be, again, slow the breath down. And again, draw your inhale down into the abdomen, far enough to puff out the belly and fill from the bottom up. Bring your awareness to the very top of your head, where your hair joins your scalp. Picture it in your mind's eye and imagine it beginning to tingle. Take your awareness down a bit to your forehead, temples, down to your brow, the eye sockets, and the eyes within. Take awareness to your nose, cheekbones, the soft flesh of the cheeks, to your ears, your jaw, to the gums and the teeth within. Bring awareness to your lips, chin, neck, and collarbones, to your shoulders, upper arms, elbows, lower arms, to your wrists, and to the many bones and muscles of the hands. Bring awareness to your hip bones, upper legs, knees, lower legs, to your ankles, and to the many bones and muscles of the feet. Notice the contact with the chair back behind you, the chair seat beneath you, and with the block or the mat beneath your feet. Feel the support they provide and allow yourself to let go, settle in, and do nothing but breathe. Continue for 3 more breaths, long and slow. And at the bottom of your 3rd exhale, no rush, whenever you arrive there, just slowly join me once again with palms together at heart center in Anjali Mudra. Let's take a moment to remind ourselves of our intention for this afternoon's practice and to carry with us off the mat. Ahimsa, meaning non-harming. We should be non-harming in our thoughts, non-harming in our words, and non-harming in our deeds. To others, of course. But don't forget that we should also be non-harming to ourselves. Hari Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.